Hey, Comic Frontline fans, welcome back to Comic Frontline and fans. You're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, continuing Zenescope week, and today we're going to be talking about Grimm Fairy Tales issue number 4, otherwise known as Rumplestiltskin. That's right, this is coming from the first trade paperback from Grimm Fairy Tales, volume number 1. If you guys want to see a alternate cover here, I do have one to provide for you, and it's this one right here. This guy right here, the one next to it is Hansel and Gretel, so that's your alternate cover there for Rumpelstiltskin. So this book is written and created by Ralph Tedesco and Joe Tyler. The pencils and inks here are done by H.G. Young. The artwork is okay. There's times where the dude here kind of looks like gigantic and he's kind of out of proportions, especially right here. But you got to remember, these are some of the early days of Grimm Fairy Tales where they're just getting started here, guys. This is pretty much, I think, the only book they had at this particular point in time. You get to see a little dwarf evil-like creature here. So yeah, and Grimm Fairy Tales at this point continues to talk about these myths, these legends, these fables that we have all been familiar with that throw this horrific twist in them. And this one has to do with the Rumpelstiltskin story. We get to see this female and this man here. They were arguing about how his girlfriend is pregnant and he's not ready to have a father. He's not ready to be a father, and he's pushing his girlfriend to get into this abortion. And she really doesn't want it. She's sitting there arguing with him, but she's considering it because she really doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know if she wants to be a mom or give up the baby for adoption, and so she's really having second thoughts. So in this issue, you get to see Selah Mathers, who has made her multiple appearances now in this series, and is giving her the book, the famous book of legends and myths and tales, and it has to do with Rumpelstiltskin. Okay, and so in this story, in this particular story, we get to see, men drinking. They're all having this grand old fantastic time, and we find out that this father of this daughter says, you know what, my daughter can spin gold. She can make straw into gold. And there was someone that was spying and told the king. And the king gets the father and the daughter, and they wind up going into the castle, and she has to, make all that straw into gold. And if it's a lie, then what will happen is, they'll be killed for like treason or for whatever. And if not, then what will happen then is they'll get rewarded. So, or he says they'll be released. So once she's all in desperate measures, we get to see the evil elf come, or whatever he is, this little dwarf. And, he sits there and goes, I require a gift. He comes with this, think about this voice. He's like, I require this gift. And so she's like, well, all I have is this bracelet. And he goes, done. So he makes all the straw into gold. And the king is all excited. And she's like, oh, can I get let go? And he's like, no. He's like, do it one more time. And he's like, you'll be my queen. So she's crying again. And she's like, I ask you this one more time. And then what happens is the guy goes, well, I will take your firstborn child. And she just goes, yeah, because she's like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a kid. So after she spins after all the gold is created this time, we get to see that's what happens. She's blessed. She gets married to the king. You get to see in the issue, the baby. She gets pregnant. The baby is born, and here comes the evil man, the dwarf, and he goes, "You promised me to hand me the firstborn," And she's like, "No, no," and he's like, "Okay." He's like, I hate to see you cry, but he's like, I'll give you 3 days to come up to guess my name. If not, then the baby will be mine. So she goes all through great lengths to find out what the creature's name was. And she finally guesses the name after some help, and she goes, Rumpelstiltskin, on the 3rd day. And Rumpelstiltskin winds up disappearing. And he's like, the devil has told you, and he disappears. And as the boy becomes 13, so 13 years into the future, we find out in the actual issue that that there is this prince that was cursed, and the only way to pass on this curse is by speaking that name, and he will pass down the curse to the other to the baby. So he winds up going to the baby, and he goes to the baby, Rumpelstiltskin, because he was this crazy creature, and he says it to him because he's the one that knew the name. He says Rumpelstiltskin. He turns into the creature, and the child is lost. So really, the tale here that Selah comes up with is, remember, Millie, children are the most precious gift of all. So in the end, it's saying that don't give up your children. Hold on to your child. Don't give it up for adoption, because you never know when they can disappear. You never know when something can happen to you. So, and that was the issue. In short, guys, I do my reviews this way for these Grimm fairy tales, so I get you to know what this book is about, on how it's presented to its readers, at least so far in these early issues. So if you find yourself interested, I want you to go out there, buy this first trade, buy issues, and realize how great of a company Zenescope really is, because it gets better as the issues go along. But after reading this particular issue, I thought it was interesting, as a first-time reader to this story. If you're not familiar with Rumpelstiltskin, you're kind of like, I remember Rumpelstiltskin, but I don't really remember the story. It kind of refreshes your memory of what it is and the curse and everything else. And I liked it. I liked the story. It's not so in-depth. It's just this crazy tale with this little twist to it, and I liked it, and I thought it was enjoyable. So after reading it, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a fun read, especially if it's your first time reading it. And again, this was issue number 4 of Grimm Fairy Tales. So all this week, guys, stay tuned for more issues as I do my Grimm Fairy Tales Flashback series, as we'll talk about issues 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I'll continue the series as going forward. And if I have time to do more, I will do more. So guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Frontline. And until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.